We're here with Mr. Zach Even-Esh, underground strength coach, Jersey.
See that bicep?
Too much, man. Well, we couldn't be more excited to have Zach on the podcast. And he's an old school OG in the space of health and wellness, online marketing content, underground strength gym, everything under the sun right there. So we're going to get started, Zach, with you just kind of telling us your story
Okay.
and where you started and whatnot.
Tell the story of how you. I'll also tell the story of how and when you and I met, because that's a funny story. So yesterday, one of the landscapers had seen me, and he sees, I guess maybe online, or he sees our athletes running outside with kegs and everything. And so I've got two locations right now, and I'm working on a third location. And he's like, "So how'd you get, how do you become, this guy who's running underground strength gym? Do you go to school for that?" And I was like, "Oh man, the misconception of what it takes to become a coach or to own a gym. There's such a spectrum." And a little plug, that's the name of our product out there. So I'm thinking to myself, damn, dude, since I started training athletes around 2002. And since then, I've almost been training on an everyday basis, or at the least 3 days a week, oftentimes 6, 7 days a week. When you think of like the thousands or the tens of thousands of hours I've put in since 2002, when I started going full time, then go all the way back to 1989 when I started training, and then go back to like when I was in high school. In the middle of like all my books was like pieces of paper, because this kid's like, "Yo, write me a workout for football. Hey man, write me up a workout for baseball." My friends were having me write them workouts. So as soon as I began training in 1989, it was like I began becoming this kind of coach and guy that was always people wanted to train with, because I was so fired up. So fast forward all these years, 2016, I never imagined I'd be a strength conditioning coach, because when I was getting into training, you were called, a personal trainer, or any of the gyms that were out there were just bodybuilding gyms. There were these kind of just gyms where people go and work out. So when I was like 14, 15, I'd have my dad drive me to every gym just to like check it out. And then I'd ask the person at the front desk, "Oh, do you own this gym? Like, how much does it cost? Like, how much is the equipment? How much rent do you pay?" So I think deep in my heart, like I knew I was going to do something with the gym business. But really what spurred me into the place I'm at now was my ACL injury. When I was a fifth year teacher, I tore my ACL. And after that, I was like, no way am I letting any other athlete, any other young kid go through all the pain I went through of training so hard and then getting injured and beat up and losing out on opportunity. So I became madman possessed. And I was like, that's it, man. I'm going to take this information. I'm going to change the lives of kids. And that's still what I do today. Like the core of everything is, what is this good for the kids? Yes or no? If the answer is no, we don't do it. If the answer is yes, then I move forward with it. And it's tough. I got two spots. You've got multiple locations. I'm in the works of a third location. And but I've learned that people, they won't travel. They're going to go what's 5 minutes, 10 minutes away. I mean, the high performers are going to travel. I actually do a lot less work online, and the reason, because online, I feel like the crap that's online is everybody wants just like an entertainment, or they want a shortcut, or they want these crazy gimmicks and fads. And I can't live with myself if I'm going to do that crap. I just don't want it. And then on the flip side, I'm pretty much a one-man show when it comes to my online stuff. So I just take what we're doing in the gym, or what I'm doing in the gym, and I go very, I'm not even sure like what the word is, like raw, putting it out there. There's no editing. I don't have a film guy or anything like that. I just put it out. So I just take what's in my heart and I share it. And that's it. Whether people like it, love it, hate it, I'm cool with all of it.
No doubt, no doubt. That's great. So give us a picture, because you came online. I remember, and what I love about your story is I'm very similar in the sense of writing programs for my friends, getting in the gym, hitting the, chest and tries, reading the Muscle
Yes.
magazine, and, Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, all that stuff that was just foundational, and it was just in our bones. It's just what
Yep.
we did. And so it's like, yeah, I just train, this is what we do. So that's awesome. And so I remember finding you online. It was probably around 05, 06 where I started to come across the Underground Strength website and seeing the videos and all that stuff. So I know you got some pretty cool stories about getting started online, and Gary
Yeah.
Vee, the first meeting with him. Let's share some of that.
So I started putting videos online I remember when YouTube first came out, calling my friend saying, dude, there's this website called YouTube. I just put a video up and 16 people watched it. 16 people. I was like, this YouTube thing is crazy. You have to check it out. Before that, I was on this website. It was the way it started, like if I back it all up, was when I tore my ACL that summer. I was still living with my parents, and I was like, I'm gonna figure out kind of how to do this personal training business. That's what it was called. So I would go to Barnes and Noble. I remember I bought like the personal trainer business handbook, and it was so old. It was like get your business card, hand out business cards. It was just very outdated stuff. And I came across Ryan Lee. He had a couple membership sites, which he sold off a while ago. But basically, I invested in a business course he sold. And I remember it was $97. And it was like money back guarantee. Like, if you're not satisfied, refund. I was like, oh, man, no way. I was like, this thing probably sucks. $97, man. I'll be refunding this. I get it. It's like a 3-ring binder, CDs, and I just sat down at my desk in my room, popped in the CD, and it starts taking you through everything step by step. It's like, you need to pick a niche. You need to pick a website. Go to this place. Purchase your website. Do this. And I remember like pausing the CD, and just every step I did it. I purchased my website. I started writing articles just like relentlessly. I'm talking, I would probably write an article a day for my own website, for the local newspaper, for any like MMA grappling website that would interview me. I would write articles for them. I was just relentless. I mean, I was like, dude, I will, if I'm not, if I'm going to succeed at this, the thing that won't be the make or break factor is my effort. So I was like, nobody's going to outwork me. And I chose my niche. I started reaching out to the local wrestling clubs. There was a website with all the clubs in Jersey. I called them all. There was maybe just shy of 30 wrestling clubs, and 2 of them called me back. I would go to those wrestling clubs with index cards of what I was going to do. I'd take the kids through the workout, and then I would offer them a opportunity to train with me out of the garage. So it started out of my parents' garage, and from the get-go, I leveraged it. I would use, my parents had the first like digital camera, which was the size of a brick. It was huge. It would take like 6 photos, and then it would run out of room, and I'd have to like upload I was learning all that stuff. How do you upload a photo? Somebody's like, dude, it's too big. You have to change like the dimensions. It's high res. Change the resolution. I'm like, what the heck is resolution? I didn't know any of that. I mean, listen, people laughed at me so much. And I always say this to my wife and her family, because I always joke about this. So they used to say, like, what, Zach's trying to like run a training business on the computer? Like, what does he know about computers? Not only that, if you wanted to make an ebook, a PDF, you had to buy a CD-ROM called like Adobe PDF Maker. It was a $300 or $400 program. I went on eBay and bought a bootleg version, but it was like, if you created like 4 or 5 PDFs, it expired on you, so you couldn't do it. So I remember like people sending me bootleg CDs with Adobe PDF Maker from eBay. And I just found a way to share what I was doing because I was so fired up about it, so passionate about it, that's what I did. I built my own websites, articles, writing for Elite FTS, when I was a teacher, every week on my prep period, once a week, I'd call Louis Simmons at Westside. We would talk about training wrestlers. You know, the first sled I bought from him showed up with like a book of like 30 stamps taped onto it. It wasn't in a box. It just had a book of stamps taped on it. And I was training kids at elementary school playgrounds after school was closed. I would train them at like local playgrounds that were kind of shady where there'd be no park rangers. I was training in my backyard, and I just refused to think or to allow myself to not succeed because, you know, back then the trainers were collared shirts, tuck your shirt in. It was this functional training movement. They had expensive equipment. And I remember saying to my dad, I think I might have to go to the bank and take out a loan. This, you know, functional trainer is a $15,000 thing. And I just didn't know how to do it. But I was like, but that's not me. You know what I was connected to? Rocky 3, where he takes him back to the tough gym. And I remember on the DVD player, I was watching Rocky 3, and I paused it when they were walking to the tough gym. And I like took out a notepad and I drew the sign Tough Gym. And I was like, I'm going to open up Tough Gym. That's like going to be the name of my gym. And I just kept plugging away. And that was probably, so if I was a fifth year teacher, I started teaching in the fall of 98. So it was like 2003, 2002 is when I started getting into it. And the way things started working was wake up before you normally wake up, do computer work, go to work, and I would work during my lunch. I would work during my prep. Then after teaching, I was coaching, wrestling. I was teaching at the community college an exercise class. I was finishing my master's degree. And I just started like becoming so fired up because I was like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to live your passion. And to me, I was also very intrigued with just being happy because when I was a teenager, I went through a lot of bouts of depression. So to me, what intrigued me the most was not, oh, I'm going to create a business. I'm going to have money. It didn't intrigue me at all. What intrigued me the most was you could wake up every day and be happy. To me, that just blew my mind. And, you know, to this day, this week even, like I had an email from somebody who's an attorney. And, you know, I get these emails all the time from people that have these high-end jobs that spent, I don't know, 8 years in college, and they don't want it. They want to do what they're passionate about. They see what we're doing. And I explain that to the athletes, you know, at the gym. I go, guys, all those videos I put out on Instagram, you got to realize that you guys are changing the world out there because they see you crushing it. They see this intensity in the gym, and they want to know how come their kids aren't training like that, or they want to know how they could do what we're doing. And to me, like if this world becomes stronger, and that's like my thing right now. So I kind of naturally allow myself to evolve. There's times where I don't want to even be online. In fact, most of the time I don't. I'm more of like a gym guy, private guy. I just want to train athletes, and then outside of that, I just want to be with the kids, you know, go surfing, go fishing. I just want to be quiet. But in the world we're in, this technology has just exploded, and that's where everybody is. So it's kind of like tricky. So I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm forced to do it, but sometimes I'm like, man, one day I don't even know if I'll just be on the computer anymore. Unless JT wants to interview me, I'm down with that.
No doubt, man. So I mean, this is a crazy evolution. I mean, in the sense of you started underground, you were creating ebooks, you're creating content, you opened up the first gym in Edison, right?
9 years ago, in fact, a little over 9 years. So it's June 7th. I signed the lease in early in May of '07, and then June 1st we opened up, and basically the kids from my garage came with me to the house. I mean, came out of the house garage, came with me to the gym. And what was tough was I didn't know much about kind of marketing a brick and mortar business. And I had probably 20, just under or just over 20 athletes, but then half of them went to college. So then in the fall, my gym business was really kind of struggling. And I didn't know how I'm like, man, what do I do? And it was slow. I mean, it was like October, we just started exploding. These two kids came, and it reminds me of our story that we spoke about when we filmed The Spectrum. These two kids came to me from a local private school. They were football players and wrestler. Well, one kid played football and wrestled. The other one was just a football player. And all of a sudden, another one came, and another one came, and more came. And all I did was share what we were doing in the gym, and I'd put it on. This is early days Facebook. I'd put it on Facebook, MySpace. I was still using. It was like I just put it out there, man. So I basically was relentless with it. Whereas I think when people struggle with whatever it is they're doing, let's say fitness they're struggling with, or their gym business they're struggling with, it's because they're not going all in. When you want to succeed at something, it's just not going to be easy. I mean, some people have it easy. I think some people maybe are a little smarter. They're a little more strategic with where they do things. But for me, it just never was easy. And now I would say, no, don't wish me luck. The harder I work, the luckier I get. But I also work smart with everything that I do. I mean, I leverage everything because I don't want to spend endless time working behind a computer. I don't like that at all.
So from that point of starting a gym, and then you started the underground seminars. You've been doing
Yes.
those. You just put the last one on, I guess maybe 2 or 3 months ago, maybe
Yeah.
2015, and so it's kind of this evolution. And so my point is, in all that is, when you following your heart and following your passion, where you are now, kind of what do you say to the new guy entering the space now? Where's your, advice there?
Um, Listen, dude, even before I was doing seminars before I even opened the gym. In fact, I did a seminar once out of a hotel. I rented the like a ballroom.
Mm.
I brought my kettlebells, my sandbags, and I was training people inside of a hotel ballroom with sandbags, kettlebells. I mean, just like I remember just like destroying people inside the hotel. And what do I tell the new guys? I say, don't be in such a rush to open a gym, number one. Number two, like, what's your experience level? I find that a lot of people kind of jump the gun. In fact, when I first started the certification, people were so fired up because they saw that I was a full time teacher and running my gym. And they were like, wow, if he could do it, maybe if I could just go to the certification, I'll be able to do it. And they jumped the gun, meaning they quit their jobs. They, immediately opened up a gym. But then they're like, but I hate marketing. I hate marketing. I'm not going to market. Well, like I always tell people, I'll go, you can't just, open up a gym, roll open the garage door and say, hey, I'm open. Come train with me. It's just not, it doesn't work that way. For example, I got these two locations. And in the one town I live in, it's so small, 2 square miles. Every just this weekend, somebody's like, "I had no clue that gym was there. I didn't know that was you." Like you'd think people use Google, they don't. People sometimes will be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about training. What's the name of your gym?" Like they don't even Google it. So I tell somebody, I go, dude, go be a coach at another gym and friggin' put in the hours. And while you're young and you're not married, you don't have kids, go travel and go to seminars and learn from all these coaches. I used to call out sick on a Friday from work. I would wake up super early, drive somewhere north, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia, attend a seminar, drive home Sunday afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock, drive through the night, sleep for 2 hours, have a protein shake, go to work. I would use my sick days to attend seminars or to attend like business coaching. I mean, I was investing. I think nowadays we're in this strange place on the internet where there's so much free stuff that people don't know how to invest. They don't know. They're like, you know what? I'm not going to buy that book.
Hmm. So in your journey now, you're coaching, you're running your boxes, you're about to open another box. So you're hiring managers, or you had said, you're getting partners in these gyms. How are you opening your third
Yeah.
location? What's the plan behind it?
So, I'd like to operate kind of small gyms for several reasons. Number one, I never want to be in a position where I'm thinking, I have to train that kid because I got to pay the rent. I got to pay, the electric bill. I never want to be in that position. I always want to be in the position where I don't need anybody's money. And that's the position I will always be in. That's a big reason why I run the internet business, is because it allows me to be super exclusive with who we train at the gym. Sometimes the wrong person sneaks into the gym. Sometimes, a kid goes through a trial. He seems like a good kid. Then he flakes out. And I'm like, damn it, I can't believe I let that kid come through here. And then we just, speak with the parents and say, listen, he's not following through. He doesn't follow through on nutrition. He's skipping all these workouts. We're going to finish off this month, and, we could revisit in a year if you want to come back, but it's not the right place. So I like going with small, and I never put myself in debt. So if I'm opening up a gym, I'll invest in it's a smaller spot, and each gym is run very similar. 2 squat racks, heavy dumbbells, kettlebells, sandbags, sleds. So I don't get 10 squat racks. I don't want a gym with 50 kids in it. I want 5 to 15 athletes at a time, 75 to 100 members per gym. The bottom line is there's not thousands of motivated athletes out there. They want to do, I just want to do this 6-week speed training. Well, what happens after 6 weeks? You get slow again? I don't want that.
So when you say small, what's the square footage?
My first location is about 1,500 square feet, with workable about 1,000 because of all the tires and sleds in the front and kind of the way the equipment's situated. The second location that I have is 2,200 square feet. I got lucky finding that spot. And this next location will also be about 1,000 or 1,100 square feet, with an open back area of like concrete for all of our sleds and movement training. Now, what do people want to see nowadays compared to back in the day? Back when I first opened a gym, there weren't any strength conditioning coaches around. In fact, the nearest CrossFit was several towns away. And now there's several CrossFits in each town, and now there's people calling themselves strength coaches everywhere. And parents don't know the difference between good or great. In fact, they don't know the difference between good and shit. They'll say, hey, Jeremy, did you have a good workout? Oh, yeah, mommy, daddy, that was hard. Okay, it was hard. Sounds good to me. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're squatting? Oh, they squat there too. To me, I always try to explain to people like this. I go, if a squat is a squat and a bench is a bench, then why are people at Westside Barbell benching 500, 600, 700 pounds, but we're all benching, right? If every high school has a weight room, why is one team always winning and other teams always losing? You're all squatting, you're all lifting. Or from a sports standpoint, every football team has a football. They got pads. They got a football field. What makes the difference? The coaching. So I put a lot of emphasis on my coaches of the relentless pursuit of excellence. And now I used to be kind of weary of like, oh, maybe I'm pushing my coaches too hard. Now I say, guys, excellence is the only standard, and you have to be better today than you were yesterday. And I'm not even going to be beat around the bush with that for you guys. You've got to be great, and I don't care if like your girlfriend cheated on you or whatever's going on. When you're in the gym, the kids get everything you've got. They get your heart. They get all your knowledge. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You got to give it all to them. So I put that pressure on them. And as far as managing goes, we don't have managers. The way I explain to my coaches is when you're there at the gym, that gym is yours. If it gets dirty, you clean it. If something needs a common sense, somebody's showed up late, whatever, didn't pay, blah, 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 then, here's kind of our system. But if you need to, change that on the spot, go for it. And we use, Wodify, which allowed me to get away from managing. So if somebody didn't pay, Wodify sends them emails. If somebody didn't, for everybody to train, you have to be scheduled. If you're not scheduled, you get blocked out of that class. So I leverage technology and I keep things simple. And I focus for us on the fact that, what's the difference maker? Somebody said, what's your elevator pitch? I go, results. I go, you can't fake it. I go, our kids, the ones that do everything we tell them to do, they make such dramatic transformations. Yeah, and not only that, not just physically or what they achieve in sports, but what they learn to apply in life. Do all the kids we train become, champions? No, but not. That's just the way of the world. And I tell that to kids. I go, hey, you all can't be champions because we can't share the gold medal. There's one gold medal. And if you want to half-ass it or just 98% it instead of 100% it, we need you to 98% it because the kid that's going 199 is going for the gold and silver. So sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm crazy, the stuff I just say, but I've learned that if I lie to somebody and say, oh, that's good enough, then I'm not helping them. So I've learned to just stop biting my tongue and say, be great, nothing less. We're all put on this earth for greatness, but not everybody wants it. Or they want it, but they're not willing to work for it. I hear a lot of people talking big, but they don't do it. Like I always think of we just had a big fundraiser at the gym, and we had coaches and athletes coming from all around New Jersey, some of them from Philadelphia. So over an hour each way. And then you got local kids, they don't show up because why? If they don't care, then they don't care. That's fine because the ones that do care are gonna crush it. And that's kind of how business is. Your business will be as successful as you're exactly where you want to be in life. If you're struggling, that's because that's what you choose to do. So let's say I wasn't an entrepreneur and I could only trade dollars for time and I needed to make money to pay for my kids. Right now, my daughter's in Florida at a tennis camp. Then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to have to go and work at the gas station at night. I'm going to go have to work a midnight shift security. I'm going to go have to stock shelves at midnight. I just won't sleep, but I'd find a way because like when people are like, oh, I'm a warrior or whatever. I mean, then they're like, you can't say you're a warrior, not in the military. Mentality wise, you'll have to kill me to stop me. That's basically the way I operate. I'm crazy, son.
So I know you recently published a book, and then what's the name
Yes.
of it?
The Encyclopedia of Underground Strength.
And I know that you got that, and you were telling me that you were in the Spartan Race office the other day, and they got the book up there. So I'm kind of interested, what's your connection with Spartan Race? I know the founder of Spartan Race, and you have built a relationship. What's that dynamic like?
So check this out. This is so funny. The book came out so close to 2 years ago. This September will be 2 years. So what happened was the way Joe DeSena and I met was he was coming out with his books. He had I guess like a publicist. And I don't know if you've ever gotten these emails, but sometimes like a publicist, or college kids will do this. They just send a cut and paste email. It's not personalized. It's just straight up cut and paste. And they were trying to help me or get in touch with me to help him, put him on the podcast. So I replied to the publicist. I said, that's the worst cut and paste email ever. I go, I know you sent that to 100 people. I go, you got to try better than that. But I said, anyway, I've always wanted to speak to Joe. I was up in Pittsfield, Vermont before him and I even met. I had met up with Mark Devine because we were discussing doing SEAL Fit for the teenagers. So Joe was up there training people outside, and he was training people to become a Spartan coach. So him and I met like this through a podcast, and then what happened from there was I said, do you have, XYZ happening to promote your book? He's like, no, how do you do that? I was like, oh man, let me help you. Let me just help you out. So I helped him basically organize the promotion for Spartan Up. I introduced him to the right people for good podcasts. I was communicating a lot with Barbell Shrugged. I told those guys, I said, look, let's organize this thing. I go, Joe, we'll pay for you guys to come out. I go, you guys can get a podcast for the Barbell Shrug, for your barbell business. I go, and do a mini documentary, just film for a day. And I told Joe, I said, look, people don't know much about you. I go, the thing I knew about you was, you did these crazy Iditarod races, you do some of these extreme races, but we want to know more about you. So I organized that. I helped him organize the book launch. And he was always like, how do I pay you back? I got to pay you. And I remember saying this to him. I go, Joe, did you ever have a friend who just helped you out and then you didn't feel like you had to pay them back? Like, oh, I did this for you, you do this for me. I go, just, I'm your friend, dude. And that's the way I like to operate. Like, I just helped you out. That's it. Like, you don't have to pay me back. I'm not keeping score. And I think that was something rare for him. So him and I just always connected. We speak pretty regularly. And then his kids, he's big into wrestling. So we wound up doing a Spartan wrestling camp together. And we have another one coming up. And it's tough because Vermont is like very low population. The economy is not like booming. So, money is not like it is in Austin or in Central Jersey or wherever, North Jersey. So we connect on a lot of stuff. And the things I always learn from him is, man, he moves fast. And he also reminds me a lot about you in a way that you've always been very team oriented because you know that having somebody who complements what you do, you're not a tech guy, so you've got other people helping you, or somebody's into website building. You're not, so why should you do it, right? So maybe a month ago, 6 weeks ago, some guy emails me on my newsletter and says, Joe, he goes, or Zach, I know that you're friends with Joe DeSena. I'm in Kazakhstan, which is like one of those states in Russia, old states. And he's like training wrestlers out there. He goes, I've done Spartan races in America. And he goes, it would be awesome, the terrain here, if we could do a Spartan race here. So I said, hey, I'll forward this to Joe. I sent him the email. And 10 minutes later, there's like 3 or 4 people from the team. Okay, here's like, the population out there. Here's any concerns you might need with like terrorist attack, or, here's what kind of security you'll need. Here's the latest, like, here's how many like IEDs were there in the past so many years. And it was like, boom, in 10 minutes, it just shit was rolling. I was like, holy crap. And that to me, I'm always quick to learn lessons. And I was like, there it is. Like the team is the ticket, especially if they complement one another. So he's not so much in like, let me figure it out, let me get it perfect. He's just like, let's do it. It's like that book, Richard Branson, the name of his book is called Screw It, Just Do It. Sometimes stuff like that is like what I need to hear. Meaning, I was like, what's the worst that could happen if I open another gym? Like, it ain't going to go out of business. It's not going to do bad because I won't let it go bad. So I said, I'm just going to go for it. And that's kind of how I think with a lot of things. There's probably going to be a cap or a ceiling on it, but I've learned that the most successful people are not necessarily smarter than you or I.
So where I want to go, kind of going towards wrapping this thing up, Zach, is I know that family is a huge part of your message, being a father to your kids and all that. Kind of bring it into a full circle about who you are in that sense, and how all that kind of complements who you are.
Gary Vee is always in an airport, and to me, I don't feel good like that, But he also says, but listen, some people are home, but they're not actually there. And then in August, I'm with my family for 4 weeks straight. And we take a good amount of family time, mini vacations, 4-day weekends, full weeks away. But every day I make breakfast for the kids. I pick them up after school 4 days a week. 1 day a week I travel up north. This second gym that I have, I don't train a later group. I come home, we have dinner together. It's just the way I'm wired. And that to me is like what's in my heart. And also, I want to inspire my kids. I want them to see that it's normal to be strong at 40, strong, healthy, fit, vibrant, energetic. I want them to see that you should never settle, meaning I want this underground strength gym to change the lives of other kids. And because it inspires my kids, it inspires me. A couple of years ago, I was going through a tough time, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't call this gym the underground strength gym. That's intimidating people. Maybe I shouldn't do that. And then around that time, I remember my daughter's like, Daddy, get me an underground strength gym shirt. And my son's like, yes, get me an underground strength gym sticker. And I was like, that's it. If they think I need to do it, then that's what I need to do. And that's all that counts. What do they think? To me, that's what counts. And when I first opened the gym, I wanted so badly to help the town that I live in, but this town was just like super unsupportive. And now it's great because I'm at a point where it's like, I don't care. We're pumping with like 80, 90 athletes here. And the only thing that matters to me are the kids that are in the doors and my own kids. So I've learned to, I think some business owners and entrepreneurs get that thick skin early. I care so much about the success of people that it's emotionally tough because I want success more for the kids than oftentimes they want it themselves or oftentimes their own parents. And I've learned to let a lot of that go. Gary V says, his big strength is having zero expectations. And to me, that's I've learned to get that, meaning, hey man, if you ain't here, oh well, because whoever is here, you better hope that you don't see them on the football field, the wrestling mat. Good luck to you. So I'm moving fast. I'm thinking big. I think the ultimate way to stress yourself out is to not evolve, to not grow. So it's like you start feeling good. Oh, I got 2 gyms. They're both really good. The online business is good. Just kick back. That's where you don't want to be, because as soon as you start like, easy peasy, no good. So I said, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's go for this 3rd location. Let's go bigger. Let's go for it. Yeah. So I'm thinking a lot bigger. And if you look at like Richard Branson, he's got, I don't know how many businesses going on. Same thing with Joe. When you go to Vermont, he's got a wedding business. They rent out like all the different farmhouses. He's got a general store where they got like they got amazing food there. They got, the chef there. He's got the Spartan race. Then he's got like all the different levels of Spartan race, like those extreme races. He's got a lot of stuff going on. And actually one guy that came to my cert, the last one out in Austin, he actually, man, what did he do? I don't know where he was working, but he kind of went on this thing where he wanted to just simplify his life. So he saved up money, quit his job. He purchased a RV. He refurbished the inside and started just going simple. He started traveling the country and doing bodyweight workouts. Then he started like doing work. I'm not even sure I found it, but he started working for like a billionaire in New Mexico. And then I saw on his Instagram, somebody said, you learn any good lessons? He goes, yeah. He has 53 different sources of income and everything is outsourced. And to me, that was a lesson right there. Okay, he's not just doing 2 or 3 things. And there's power to being simple and power to just the one thing, like that book. But there's also power to just, going big and just, not driving the speed limit. Oh, I'm just going to keep it safe. So I think the key to success is, it starts in your heart. You got to listen to your heart. You got to trust your gut instincts and thinking big. What the hell? Why not? Why not think big? This time goes fast. You and I met 2010, and I feel like that's yesterday. I remember you and I met. We sat down. We were in Miami at the Phil Fest. Dude, I remember that like yesterday. I remember you giving your speech. I remember us sitting down at breakfast, and you're like, so what's your deal, man? You're like, here's CrossFit, and here's you. That seems like yesterday. In 6 more years, I'll be 46, and I'm going to remember, this conversation I had with JT. It went fast. So I guess being 40 has kind of hit me with move fast, but also chill out, man. Sometimes just chill out. And I've done that maybe because I didn't see my parents so much. So I do things like I go fishing with my son. We go to the beach. We surf together. We do a lot of that stuff together. because it's like, now you got two kids. They're like 3 months old, and then in the blink of an eye, they're 3 years old. And then it's just crazy how fast time goes. And that's put a lot into perspective for me. And I don't know if this message could resonate with people. Some people don't care, I see some people, they just don't care. And I don't want to be, I just care. That's just the way I am. I can't change. Gary Vaynerchuk always says you got to do a self audit. You got to know who you are, what you're about. That's who I am. I'm a guy that just cares about seeing other people succeed. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
That's awesome, Zach. Well, cool, man. Well, we're gonna have to process all this. I'm gonna have to break down your notes, man. There's a lot of wisdom in there and all that good stuff. So we appreciate it. I just think about over the past 6 years of knowing you, how much I've learned from you, and I just see, like, after hearing your conversation with Joe, with Spartan, like, I think your hand in play with how you're going to impact the world through helping influencers around the world is only going to, like, explode. I don't even think you've really reached the full, like, impact that you're going to make, because I don't know, man. After hearing what you did for Joe, I think that there's going to be a huge opportunity for you in the future with all these relationships you've built, man. And people trust you, and they know that your heart's in it. So I just want to say thank you.
Dude, I'm so, those are great words to hear. I miss you, dude. I always say, man, like sometimes we meet such great people and it's like, but we have to get on an airplane. But that's also the beauty, is like I've met some of the greatest people because I became a coach and traveled and did these things. And it's just been, like, to me, that's what's so tremendous about being a coach and the internet. So I try to look at the good things of that. And, like, I'm like, dude, I always tell people, I go, I'm a normal guy. I have my tough days, my tough times, my days where I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. But the difference maker is when you're in that place, you got to just say, of course I could do this. Just take one step and then you'll get warmed up, So it's like, cool. And yeah, man, it's so funny because sometimes I'm on a phone call with like people at Spartan, and it's like, man, it's so funny that I'm consulting them, because I always say to people, I go, I sure as hell was not voted, most likely to succeed.
Yeah.
In high school. I was not, those things just weren't in the cards. So, who you are right now does not determine who you are tomorrow. People just got to be action takers. And what's tricky is we're in a world of, you are busy but not productive. Facebook is like sucking people into stuff, or people don't know what's going on in this world because they are too caught up on their phones. It's a crazy world that we're in now, right? People will be like, oh, I didn't know you're in this town for 3.5 years. Yet if you look at like social media and all that stuff, like our stuff is just blowing it up with all that. But I don't think people's brains can't keep up with the speed of the world. And so when I've understood that, I just said, man, all you could do in life is do your best, because that's the thing nobody could take away from you. And if you're not doing your best, then it's all up to you to do your best at whatever it is that you're doing. Business, life, fitness, like you going back with this challenge, you gained weight and all that stuff, and you got mad at yourself. And you're like, man, that's it. I'm done. I'm getting back to just crushing it. And that's where people have to learn to go into those places where you're in the zone,
No doubt, Zach. No doubt, brother.
Cool.
Well, hey, brother, appreciate it.
Thanks.
We'll have to get you back on here in the next 6 to 8 months and check back in with the third
Yes.
location and whatnot. So appreciate you, man.
Cool.
Love you so much, and we'll be in communication.